You've probably heard someone say, "I've changed." It means they feel different. Think about yourself. You're not the same person you were when you were 7. You might have punched someone just because they took your toy, sneaked through the woman bathroom, or ate mud just to know what it tastes like. As for me, when I was in year 7, me and my friend were playing tennis at school and I kept getting hit in the face. She told me to hold the tennis racket in front of my face so it wouldn't get hit. I did, and it hurt even more because the whole racket hit my face, not just the ball. Now, as a 40-year-old man, we wonders, was that really me? So, who are you? Are you the same person you were at 7? Will you be the same at 70? What makes you, you? In this video, you'll learn about free will, multiple personalities, and why many people believe in the soul. In 1982, a 27-year-old American woman named Suzanne Siegel was 4 months pregnant and waiting for a bus in Paris. Suddenly, she felt like she no longer existed. She didn't feel connected to her body or mind anymore. For the next 10 years, Suzanne saw many therapists to try to feel like herself again, but nothing worked. Suzanne started to see her condition in a spiritual way. She thought maybe she was experiencing what the Buddha called not self, a feeling of being connected to everything and everyone. She wrote a book about her experience and became a spiritual leader, teaching others about this feeling of being infinite. But in 1996, Suzanne began to have trouble holding a pen, remembering names, and even standing up without feeling dizzy. Doctors found a large brain tumor that couldn't be removed. Suzanne died on April 1st, 1997, at age 42. Some people wondered if Suzanne's spiritual experiences were because of the brain tumor. Doctors thought the tumor was pressing on her brain, causing her to feel disconnected from herself. However, her followers believed the tumor made her lose her spiritual connection with the universe. Imagine a castle with 11 different people inside. This is actually the mind of someone with multiple personality disorder. In 1990, Robert B. Oxnam was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, DID, also known as multiple personality disorder. Before his diagnosis, Robert was a successful professor, but struggled with alcoholism, bulimia, and depression. He started experiencing memory blanks. One day during therapy, Robert thought the session was starting, but it was actually ending. His therapist, Dr. Jeffrey Smith, said an angry young man named Tommy had been talking instead. Robert never left the room, but it felt like he left his body, and Tommy took over. Over time, 9 more personalities appeared, each with their own traits and stories. When Robert switched personalities, he'd black out and forget everything he said and did. These personalities would go back into his unconscious mind, but still affect him. Robert's multiple personalities started from early childhood abuse. To cope with the trauma, he created these personalities. Many people with childhood trauma, whether physical, sexual, or emotional, create different personalities to deal with it. Robert's trauma was so intense he created 11 personalities. Through therapy, he reduced them to just 3. So, the question is, which personality is the true you? To simplify this more, we need to look at the next important thing. We usually think our sense of self comes from inside us, but it is also shaped by how society sees us. For example, transgender people need to be seen as they see themselves. Drew Marland, who changed from male to female at 43, noticed she was often ignored as a woman, which made her lose confidence. Different cultures have different ideas of the self. In the West, we focus on the individual. The Inuit people, for example, don't use words like I or you. They see themselves as part of the group, and their feelings match the group's feelings. David Hume, an 18th century philosopher, believed that the mind is just a mix of thoughts, feelings, and emotions. He thought our sense of self is an illusion. Hume decided to test this idea. When he looked inside himself, he found that he only felt his self when he experienced emotions or sensations like heat, cold, love, or pain. This made him conclude that the self doesn't exist on its own. It's an illusion created by our experiences and memories. This idea is known as the ego trick. It means our sense of a unified self is just a trick of the mind, formed from a mix of different experiences. In Buddhism, some believe that there is no permanent self. Instead, life is full of temporary, often painful events, and our self is formed by how we react to these events. This means that we aren't born with a fixed self. We create our self through the choices we make and the actions we take. Have you watched the Matrix movie? The Matrix movie shows people living in virtual realities while their real bodies stay in pods. These scenarios are easy to imagine because we know human nature can change, especially with new technology. When we were kids, we played football in the mud and sand, making goalposts with our shoes. Those were the days of scraped knees and endless fun under the sun. Today, Kids are glued to iPads and kissing underage girls in VR games instead of playing outside. Neuroscientist Susan Greenfield says media can change human identity, especially in young minds. He worries that too much screen time will make us lose our sense of identity, both personally and socially. Our sense of self is complicated. We think we know who we are, but research shows it's an illusion. The ego connects our thoughts and feelings, making us think we're in control. Our actions are just reactions to our surroundings. Even if you feel in control, you might not be. So can you answer the question, who are you?